You're watching Satluj TV News. I'm Angus Scott in London. Disturbing evidence is emerging of covert activities by the Indian government in interfering in other nations' governance and political policy making, as well as growing connections with the criminal underworld of those countries. In its most recent manifestation, it's now become widely known that the Indian government has been caught by both the Canadian and US government in contracting members of the criminal fraternity to assassinate its political opponents on both Canadian and US soil. In a cynical effort to create plausible deniability, Indian government agents delegated their illegal assassinations of Sikh campaigners by covertly contracting killers in the criminal world to carry out the killings. The recent investigation by the US Department of Justice revealed the cascading layers of this covert activity that started with an Indian government official employing another Indian national in the US, who then in turn attempted to hire a hitman to murder Khalistan campaigner Govt Singh Panoon. The hitman, of course, turned out to be an undercover US agent. But in more sinister revelations, it has become increasingly apparent that India is increasingly following a model created by China of enacting a covert program to effectively buy and influence politicians, particularly in Canada, who in turn manipulate domestic political and legal policy for India's benefit. In an investigation undertaken by Canadian-based The Bureau news outlet, they claim that Indian government agents appear to have actively interfered in the 2022 Conservative leadership race. The involvement includes influencing the process to ensure their preferred candidate succeeded, as well as boasting that a number of Canadian politicians at all levels of the government were on the Indian government's payroll. Whilst Chinese bribery and political interference has long been acknowledged across the democratic world, this is the first public accusation against India, which stems from Canada's own intelligence agency, the CSIS, who reported their findings last year. But more concerning is that the intelligence agencies of both Canada and the US are now connecting Indian Secret Service activities, working with organised crime syndicates that are operating within North America. The Washington-based NGO International Coalition Against Illicit Economies, led by a former US intelligence official, has warned that Canada has become a safe zone for the world's most notorious crime groups and threat networks. With the brazen shooting down of Hardeep Singh Nijjar in Canada in June, and now the thwarted plot to assassinate the SFJ leader in New York, the links between the Indian government and these criminal syndicates has become painfully clear, which now pose a deep threat not just to Canada's national security, but to global peace and political stability. You've been watching Satluj TV News. Don't forget to click on that subscribe button to make sure you get to see stories as they're broadcast. And of course, if you have any comments or opinions on any of our news stories, please do comment below. Or indeed drop us a direct message at satlujtv.com. We would love to hear from you. In the meantime, thanks for watching for Satluj TV News. I'm Angus Scott in London.